Hey, I'm Mark. I'm a new indie game developer working on a game called Button Pop. It's a mashup between a tower defense, an idle, and a button masher game where you are the main button and you have to defend yourself against all the other little jealous buttons coming to get you. If you guys have any feedback or want to see something specific in the game like a hat or a button, leave a comment down below. And with that said, let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing I actually worked on this week was a community request. I was asked to add in cat ears and work on a sort of candy floss kind of level. So what I did is I went into Maya 3D and I modeled up a set of 3 ear types. One is a sort of traditional cat ear. Another one is a sort of cat ear frame, sort of modern framework. And I thought it'd be nice to actually have some panda ears as well. So on top of that, I upgraded the customization system slightly on the hat side of things. So now you can actually control the primary and secondary color for your hats, which I thought was pretty cool. And while we're in the customization section, I also added in more VFX for the buttons. So now you can pick from electricity, rainbows, and flame effects, with more coming down the pipeline as I work on the game. After working on the customization section, I then went back to some of the older maps that I've actually produced and gave them the final passes that they kind of need. Like in Keyboard Pass, where I've actually updated lighting significantly. I've rearranged the actual layout slightly so it's just a bit more dynamic, and I've added a sort of techno background sort of look to it. So the floor is actually glowing from below it. And in the Lava Cave, where I've kind of just overall spruced up all the textures and added a little bit of detail here with all the rocks and foliage lying about. Or in Shadow Forest, where I've actually changed the geometry of the map slightly so there's a bit more detail in it. And then I've also added in a lot more rocks so that the player's area of view is actually just a bit more interesting and captivating. Oh, and don't worry about Candyland, Candy Road, Candy Path? The Candy Map. I'm working on it at the moment and I've got a prototype, but it's just going to take a little bit longer. But I'll definitely be featuring it in future devlogs if you guys are interested. So the next thing I did this week was I worked on my overall UI layout. I'm pretty happy with how this is looking at the moment, but I decided to move a few of the elements around the screen just for better composition. And there used to be a wave meter, but I've actually replaced it with a level victory meter, just to put more of an emphasis on surviving the entire level rather than an individual wave. But if you guys have any feedback on it, let me know if you think it can be improved. But I also worked on my level selection menu. So originally it was just, you select the mission, you go to the mission, that's it. But now I've added a star system, so the game will rank how well you've actually performed in a level, and it will give you a star rating out of 3. And that will be reflected on the level selection menu, so that you know you have to replay it to get a better star rating. On top of this, I've added in a prestige system, so when you get to the end of a level or you've completed a level, you'll get an option to either move on to the next mission or stay in prestige. And with that you would get more coins, but also harder enemies. Another thing I worked on this week was the game's localization, and my eyes are completely opened. I did not expect this to be such a huge job, but wow. Luckily the game doesn't have too much text or dialogue or anything like that, so it shouldn't take too long, but I plan to have English, French, German, Spanish, simplified Chinese, and Russian in the game. I know that's quite a tall order for a solo dev, so I hope to have that at launch for the game, but if not, at the very least I will have it after launch. But yeah, I did not expect this. I'm learning. One of the last things I worked on this week was actually a tutorial on the outline effect from Button Pop. If you're interested in the sort of technical side of the game, and you want to know how things work, I'd really recommend checking out the video. It's got loads of content and it shows you the entire process of how to make the post-process effect. So yeah, I think that's the end of this devlog. If you guys have any feedback or have anything specific you want to see in the game, like a button or a hat or something like that, leave a comment down below, and I guess I'll see you guys later. Bye!